Okay, so we need to now start going into the kind of finishing stages of getting this all welded up together. So I'm going to go ahead and delete some polygons off of our pommel and handle object to get it to where it's set up for our to meet up with this particular object. It looks still a little big, so I'm going to scale this down a little bit. Scaling in the uniform side of things. Excuse me. And I think we want to actually go a little bit more. Down there. Scale it down. Alright, so I'm hitting 1 on my keyboard just so you know I can toggle on out to top level or toggle into vertex level. And I'm scaling on the actual object level, which is a lot cleaner and easier, and then adjusting the vertices as I need to. Alright, so that's a little bit more effective. It's actually fitting inside the actual guard, which is what we want. And now we want to talk about the connections that we have here. Okay, so when I did this cut through, it kind of messed up the math that I normally go with. We're always talking about quads, and if I double click here, which will give me the ring selection, or loop, ring selection on our edges, look down here, it says I have 8 edges selected here. At this point here I have basically 2 polygons, which is going to really kind of break things up into a difficult math. It's going to be basically 6 up here and 8 down here in terms of segment count, and that's going to give me a mismatch. It'll make things a little messier. So there's a couple ways we can go about it. So let's go ahead first off and attach the handle to the Claymore. So I select the Claymore object, I'm in attach, and I click on the object that I want. I right click to deactivate the attach. Alright, so let's redo that. So it's a little bit slower. So what I want to do is actually combine the 2 objects. And so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to select the Claymore object, which was the original one, and I'm going to right click and go to attach. By hitting attach, now I can click on any object that's not a part of this object, this edit asset, and click on it to attach it. And I can either click on the button or right click in the window to deactivate the attach function. Now that I have all the objects selected, we can talk about how we're going to get these things connected. Now I do see that I do have some segments here that I'm going to want to connect onto this handle here, so let's go ahead and so this is the piece that I need to get connected here, and if we consider how the actual object is made, it's actually kind of a pass-through hole. So if I go to polygon mode, try that again. And I'm going to do an inset real quick. An inset's just kind of like half the step of a bevel. I'm going to delete that now that I have that. And I'm going to delete this right here. Okay, so what I have here is essentially what's going to be on the object. Let's put our symmetry back on there. Flip it. All right, so this is where this is the situation I have. I'm going to put another edit polygon here so we can look at our count. So I'm going to click on border and select this bottom piece, which is the blade. The blade has 8 edges. The handle has 16, and our guard, top and bottom, seems to have 12. So let's do something real quick. I will, the edits that I'm going to do here will not count down the road. We're just using this to see where our solutions will sit. So what I'm doing here is closing up this gap, which I would do normally. Just collapsing the 2 vertices that I have selected, which means it'll just take 2 vertices and weld them to 1. And let's count this again. So we got 8 edges here, and we got 16 edges of 8 edges here going to 8 edges here, and that's a real clean, easy match. I can actually click on the bridge tool, and it'll take care of the work for me on that level. Let's go ahead and undo that and leave that there. Let's get into the problem child, which is this one. And that's basically 16 to 8 to 16. 8 up here on the guard and 16 on the handle. And I click on bridge on this one, and you can see where it makes some triangles. And that's not bad. I mean, we can actually make this work. Essentially what I want to do here, if I go to edges, select the edges here by double clicking on them, I can slam that up there and do some basic vertex editing to make it clean, and that will give us the Claymore. So let's go ahead and do that real quick. Let's go ahead and bridge this one. I want to move this one down, so I'm going to select border, slide that down. I'm going to go into my side view so I can see that it's lining up the way I want it to. I missed it just a little bit. Okay, now I'm going to hold control and add to the selection and select the guard. I can do some scaling and all that stuff right now, but I can also do it later. Let's just go ahead and get it connected. And so there we have our guard and our blade connected. We have our handle and our blade connected. I'm going to grab this vertex here. This vertex and this vertex are the current problem children, and we just need to help them out. They're doing too much work, and we need to let them kind of just be in a better spot where all the shapes can be a little bit more congruent. All right, so there's some cleanup in here, and it's not going to be bad. There'll be, as we go through the class, we'll get it cleaner and cleaner on our builds. But this is just the beginning steps. 90% of the success on this particular model comes from the fact that I started off and kept going with polygonal and or quad-based objects. So like if I want to clean this up, I'm going to use a target weld, and I'm just going to take one vertex and follow it along the edge to another vertex and clean up my geometry. I could be using symmetry for a lot of this as well, but we'll get into that a little later. As I finish this up, what I want you to do is start building your own weapon, such as a Claymore. This is a real easy weapon to build. And start kind of looking at how you can use polygons and these editing tools to help make awesome projects. And we'll get into more stuff in class time about mood boards and things of that nature and getting our finals set up. So I will do some cleanup probably off camera, and then we can discuss it in class. But that is essentially our Claymore. Actually, I was saying I wasn't going to use that last piece, that last edit poly, but that looks like it's pretty spot on to the reference. Just got to do some basic detailing, which we can do in another video. For the time being, this can be submitted. Take a screenshot of this, put it in the classroom, and this will count for your second weapon. Save as, and we're going to hit plus Claymore 2 to Claymore 3. Boop. Sweet. Cheers.